Maybe they don't have a much better idea. You might have heard the version once. You know what it's in.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
And to the republic which stands one nation under God.
Roll call.
Back,
Here.
Johnston and Hughes,
No.
Drummond,
Here.
Brady,
Here.
Small.
Here. First order of business today is, we need to, do a resolution for the public employer contribution to medical benefit plans. Blah, 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 you have a copy in front of you. We voted a motion, last week and it was not the proper way to do it. So this is the proper way. I'll make a motion to, approve this resolution. Moved and, I think Dave came into the wire a little sooner, so. Any discussion?
Could I just for clarification, could someone give me, I think I have it in but, increase. Take any group you want, just single, couple, or family. I think family is better because it represents more people. What is the increase cost per family with kids if they are on the insurance plan we are adopting? Well, no, it's not the one we are adopting. That part's already done. But by being in the out in.
If you look at the, 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph down, it shows you what the increase was for the HSA and, for the HMO, the straight plan. There's your percentage increases. There was an average of the two. We were listed separately in this resolution, so I listed them separately.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
The percentage of what people pay for the HMO, I think, is what you're asking. No, there was no charge for the HMO. They now have a charge of $189 for the HMO. They didn't pay, they paid $0 last year. This year they'll pay $189 a month for the HMO program.
Welcome to our world.
And percentage for the HRA, I have no idea. That's,
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Jack.
Yes.
Drummond.
Yes.
On that note, before, Scott gets here, I wanted to discuss. Understanding that we just, increase the burden to employees. We don't have to decide on it today, but, if we could, as we're going through budgets for non-elected. And, non-union and elected officials, so we look at maybe some wage. Or I know we plan for 3%, and I know it's just will have to start over and start over on some calculations, but, maybe we consider. 4 or 5% to help with the offset on that. But what we've done, here's my opinion about this, we've kind of cracked the egg on the, mark cap, right? Now here we are, we finally got, we're doing it. So. This kind of. Moves the way for future car cash, but maybe in this instance today, just think about it, think it over. It's worth doing something a little extra. I mean, there's some departments that are getting a lot of interest. And that being said, we don't expect Scott here until 1:30.
so now might be a time where you're looking at, last week, for the last meeting, I gave you 6 different wage increase requests from departments. I don't know if you still have those. In your packet, it was one small spreadsheet.
Yep, on my desk before.
One big,
See my number, don't call it.
well, it is all here on the spreadsheet, but it's not singled out as those particular items. So if you go to page, I don't have it numbered, but the clerk, which is 251 and 215, go back a couple pages. The elected official salary was requested over and above the 3% of that amount. That was one of them.
I did have something on there that shows 58,555,
Okay,
550, sorry.
58,550.
Yeah,
Okay, so that would change to 37,54 for the request.
which would also make Trina's incorrect because going by that motion, it's a $7,000 gap. So
By
Cheryl,
an adopted motion or not? From the board?
yes, that one was.
I saw that here.
Which would make Cheryl's, or Cheryl, would make Sheila's incorrect also. So
Mine as well.
your correct amount would be. Yeah, I wrote it down somewhere. Okay, here, let me go right here. It would be
51,550, correct?
correct.
One deputy and that one.
That change is reflected off of. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 counties that are average to our size. And if you look in the first blue column there, it shows what the average pay is for a county clerk. A treasurer, registered deed, sheriff, on and on and on. You might want to look at those as comparison. So if you average that off of 1,820 hours per year, that comes up for your average of the 58,550.
But we don't know if the rest of these are 40-hour work weeks or 35 weeks.
It does on another spreadsheet, and it also explains what benefits they get as far as like retirees insurance. It also shows their health insurance plans, their retirement plans. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, it's already converted.
There were, I think, 19 counties requested, 4 or 5 did not participate. So these are counties that are in comparison to our size and region and. So I didn't just make up a number in my head. An average.
So that being said, that would apply to the register of deeds as well, as we're all on the same scale. Is that my understanding?
Makes sense to me.
We try to stick to the same scale, but they're different. But
Well, they've already converted it, it says. The annual survey has been converted to hourly based on number of hours worked per week, so they've already done that for us.
oh, okay. They were mainly all 35 hours.
For that.
That was the norm. Yeah, there was a couple that were different, almost 37 and a half hours. I think one was 40, only one, so like, but I can get you that sheet just if you want to compare it to what other people are paying as far as their insurances and retirements and all of that good stuff. There's a whole other spreadsheet. This was just the wage portion of it. And if that doesn't happen, then I have a separate request in my elections. Because I'd like to request it one way or another. Something's got to be made up for this ridiculousness of 27 election days. Oh, plus there's 3 or 4 regular, that's not included, so it's over a month of elections. It's slightly above and beyond what the norm is, and like I said, I can think of about a dozen counties that have hired election administrators. Clare County, not a whole lot larger than us, but they are. Completely hired a full-time election coordinator. I believe, Iosco County was looking into one, I think.
Well, Proposition 2 is actually kind of one there that, I guess all this, right?
So there's a question, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, but, so. For clerk, treasurer and deeds, we're looking at 58,550, and then for the ledger and the, deputies would get, 51. 550.
So those are now updated into the department request from the treasurer and the clerk. I believe, and you have a meeting is registered. Yes.
Yeah.
So you can discuss that with her, and it's on the board side of it. I'm just gonna adjust it there. All these are at your discretion. I was just kind of going through that. We talked about the budget analyst, request of 30,000, which is a $13,000 increase. And that's your call on that as well. You need to think about that and review that. The other elected official, before we go, I'm gonna go right down this list. And then that was clerk. In my office with the additional, with the changing of the way the tax roll and the tax roll maintenance is, being done. We are relying on the townships for appropriate information for certain things, and with the differences in the processes that are happening in equalization, it has proven that we are not getting the appropriate information we need, which is fine. We have the capability of doing that job ourselves. Looking through the deeds and making sure addresses, because between the township and the structure of our equalization department at this time, we're not getting good information from either in order to update our delinquent tax information. So that has been, quite a job going through all the deeds. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because under my salary wage for the position, the assistant, I'd like to do a letter of understanding, and I just need approval from you, if that is appropriate, to add an additional 5 hours, which would make her position go from 35 to 40 as needed. We don't need it throughout. We have times where we don't need, but we have times when we do need. We need to do that before, and the option is there to get it up to snuff, because the stuff that we had brought in from the township, we had brought in from equalization, overrode everything we had in our system. And when we sent out our first mailings, we had a very high increase of return mail where we had not had before, because we had been updating it. And then we brought in the township's information. Well, oops, they forgot to send us the updated stuff. So that overrode everything that equalization had done. And for our next process of the mail going out for the delinquent notices, we in turn had hundreds of phone calls. So we are at the point where it has to be done in-house, and we have to make sure that we are getting the proper information for the foreclosure process, because we are not able to rely on either source 100%. So, and it has caused a lot of extra work in our office, and also updating, getting the tax rolls, assisting the township with information on the tax rolls has been a large burden. I had training for them, it's great, but there's just some that don't have that. We also have 2 new treasurers. Started November 1st. Which is also, I was out to Caledonia last night, and I'll be visiting, township treasurers on Friday, to make sure that they get their tax rolls up in running.
What would they appoint?
Haley Ron-
Randall?
Haley Rondo. Rondo.
She owns a painting business, so I've never met her.
I'd like to back up a little bit.
Yes, so I'm asking for an additional 5 hours availability to pay
As
as needed. It may be quite a bit for the next few months, and then it may not be during the summer, and it may not be for, there's just certain times of the year that we need the extra work.
I'd like to make the observation, though, if I heard correctly, you've indicated at the time being, things are not going to change because we just went into contract with someone for an entire year that we don't have a director sitting there 35 hours a week.
But you also don't have a office procedure policy in place, which I'm sure at some point, within the next year, you will have that.
I
When
think
you
that's wishful
see,
thinking.
well, it's realistic. You have to make a decision on what you want your office to represent. And I'm just waiting for you to make that decision. I've given as much. You have a position, but you haven't revamped it to represent what you have now. But you have expectations of what comes out of that office, and that is not what's happening with your current situation.
Exactly, exactly. And unfortunately, I don't see that changing. It doesn't say it's good enough.
That puts a burden on the county.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that, but I think realistically, I don't perceive.
Tell me who signs the payroll.
Well, I
For
wonder
those
about that
work.
sometimes.
You have, your responsibility is, and I don't wanna, this is not the time or the place, but. So my request was for an additional 5 hours.
Which positions, all three?
No, just the one,
Just,
just the union
Okay.
position, which I would submit to you and the union. Memorandum of understanding and letter of understanding for the potential to do that. I have no intention to have it paid out just because she's not doing it. You have one of those already that's happening, and that was not my intention.
Any kind of idea on how many weeks you're gonna have to be extra in idea. Yes.
I could say for the next 6 months for sure,
Okay.
and then after that, we'll see where we are and how you've progressed with the structure of the other departments that haven't happening. And the things that we have to do.
We want to look at a 6 month thing and then letter of understanding for 6 months and then revisit that.
I think,
Clarification of the motion.
there is no motion.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you said the motion. Why would you? I don't believe we need to make it on a 6 month basis. And the reason that I say that is, I have confidence in a department head that it is going to be used appropriately.
I agree with that.
So to qualify it for 6 months seems almost meaningful.
Not on the grounds itself, it's on the grounds, that's my personal opinion, sorry.
And again, I was throwing that out to the board to see if that was something that they might want to review. Not meant as an insult to anyone at the same.
Okay, yeah, I would say, go ahead and put an LU together and we can. I'll review it and then vote on it at that meeting. If that's good enough, is that good enough?
Yeah, that's
Okay. That being said, Scott's here, so we can get him started. Scott, you come on up, I'll make a spot for you. Maybe cuddle in between Carolyn and Stephanie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'll bring my own chair.
So I don't think they're there. You can put it on.
Hi Scott, how are you?
I'm just so late.
What is that? Found it. Hell, that's like you're happy, no.
I'm glad that there's heat over here, we don't have heat in our building right now, and, I wondered why it's so dang cold all day, and the day came over and said, by the way, your heater's not working.
I would like to stay with us for the
I
afternoon.
thought we got all that stuff fixed right there.
No, I'd rather not stay with you guys the rest of the afternoon, but I think it's just the cold weather just seems to get down or something, but it is working in dispatch, it's not in this.
Typical spring or winter start, BS. All right, well, thanks for coming, Scott.
Yeah. Let me know where you want to start.
Well, I'll start the conversation at, the deputies contract is signed and done. Now, I understand that, you're still talking to the, command unit?
Yep.
Right? Are these numbers here based on, projection of what that might be?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, so I put in the numbers that we had tentatively agreed to for the deputies for their pay. The sergeants were estimates. The three sergeant positions, two of which are in the road patrol budget, one in the jail budget. And the confidential secretary is on the road patrol budget. So there's four salaries that are estimated on it.
So when you, is that based on past practices or that deputies are here and then sergeants go up to this much?
You know what?
Based on that or?
Yeah, so sometimes they negotiate differently. What I did for this estimate here is I saw that there was, I think, a $3 wage gap in the old contract, and I put in a $3 wage gap between the two for the next contract. They came and dropped off a handwritten thing today that they saw that they were 14% above the deputies, and they wanted to stay 14% above for the next one, so their number was a little bit different than mine. So those are still in limbo. They're not settled on yet, but these are my best guesstimate right now.
Well, that's Stephanie.
They may not be exactly where we settle on, but it'll be somewhere in that neighborhood.
So past practice was based on $1 per hour. And there,
The last contract it was, historically, it always was some type of percentage.
well, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, this new union that they got, these two, they like to negotiate in dollar amounts rather than percentages, so I was kind of a little bit surprised to see them come over and say that, currently we're 14% above them and we'd like to stay 14% above them in the future, rather than the dollar amounts that I've been seeing last couple of negotiation cycles.
Just, the clerk came in with the wages at the same as what you had done. When the clerk. There was only a few discrepancies between the department requested and the board, and those are, if you, and that, when you get to 10301, those are on the board, or they would have to look and see. So on that one, there was your requested amount, but the clerk had calculated at the 3%, so that was the only difference.
Even if we want to talk, if we want to talk about what I put on for the sheriff, under sheriff salary, this meeting, we can, if we want to do that separate. We can, it doesn't matter to me, but I basically figured out that the sheriff and under sheriff have been paid less than the deputies and sergeants for the last several years, and then you guys say that's appropriate, it's up to you, but I don't think it is, and I don't think going forward, if I have to replace an undersheriff at some point and pay him less than the sergeants are making, I'm not going to be able to. And I don't know that if I leave, you'll be able to pay a sheriff less than the sergeants are making either, so.
But, okay, so once again, historically. what was the structure from the highest paid sergeant to the undersheriff?
From my recollection, although there's never been anything right, the undersheriff was paid $1,500 higher than the sergeant.
Yeah.
And the sheriff $3,000. When this began, though, we were talking about sheriffs that were making $40,000 and started making 37. And we moved up quite a bit from them, so maybe we need to revisit that and look at it as a percentage difference instead of, $1,500. $1,500 is 1%.
So that rule has been around for a long time.
Right, it has.
So you're talking like the 2000s,
Oh, yeah,
early 2000s.
yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's what it was with Doug Ellinger was here.
So it makes some sense to me that you say, okay, well, yeah, but we've always been that gap forever. And now as an overall percentage from, well, back then it was half the salary, what you would expect now.
Right. That's one way to look at it, Chairman, and the other way is, and I'll share this with you, but, the sergeants receive, they receive longevity, they receive holiday pay with the new contract. A non-uniform allowance, they receive 160 hours of vacation pay that's available for cash out and shift differential. When you add up those things, and those are not available to the undersheriff and I, other than the longevity, which he gets, and I do not. You're looking at the sergeant down here, in the $88,000 range of cash that's available to them for the year. Yeah, and that's, you're looking at an undersheriff and a sheriff making $64,000.
Don't do that kind of thing for elected officials and deputies or undersheriff because it's a short, it could be a one-term deal.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, and I don't think those things are available to us rightfully. I think that's right. But in the end, when I got a sergeant taking home $8,800 or $88,000 a year, taxable value of their contract, and my undersheriff is at $63,000. And that's projected number for next year, and the $63,000 is this year's number. So if you were to take that $88,000 and give the undersheriff $1,500 more than that, and myself $3,000, those are very close to the numbers I give you, but they look tremendous. They look crazy on paper, but when you look at this number on what the sergeants are taking home and what we're going to be giving them, they're not that crazy. They're not that outlined. I've done a little research on other sheriff's offices and their sizes. They're going at a percentage and they're paying 15% for the undersheriff above the sergeant's top pay, and the sheriff is 25 to 30%. So there's all kinds of different methods we can look at. And I don't know that this is a meeting that we got to sort that out. If it is, we can, if we want to do that slow time.
Well, I mean, we all knew it's gonna be. Big impact, I agree with you, I mean, this is not kind of.
Maybe we could sit down with personnel or budget, it's committee and advertise.
I mean, for sure. The numbers we got from the clerk are not gonna work. Based on. I expect sergeant.
Yeah, even if you're just looking at cash value. I mean, that the undersheriff is making cash value $1,500 less than.
What's the board appetite for this? Do you want to make a stab at, make an estimate right now, or do you want to kind of think about it and give us Scott? You can't wait a long time, we've got to do this week or early next week.
I get it, and the thing is, gonna throw everything out of whack, you know that. And that's what it started doing by doing this deputy, and it's all gonna go, everything you're gonna have, I mean, Sure, I had prosecutors, I guess I'll quit today, then you're gonna pay somebody $125,000 to get the next bill. I mean, that's what's, I mean, we're gonna find out where our budget's gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, I could walk back next door and hear the same thing from my undersheriff.
Well,
You know, if you're gonna pay sergeant more than me,
That's,
I mean, but, you know, I'm here for different reasons than a lot of people. I put a lot into this and just to work to get elected, and I'm not really here for the money, but that does factor in. And I think going forward, I'm doing this forever, the next guy coming in is not gonna do it for less than the deputies or sergeant.
There's no incentive to the country.
Well, midnight phone call was. It's a great job in the world, it really is. I don't know the phone was a guy. Was doing this, I think it's job.
Well, how about this? Today, I mean, we're not voting on the budget today, obviously. Today we'll leave the numbers as is. But, everybody's gotta really put their hat on, and think about everybody else, not you. Has to think about, you know, the impact and what we can do to do something, if there's anything different we can do in the future.
I do have a couple of things where I caught a couple of errors in that through here, is that, do we want to?
Yeah, absolutely, that's why we're here primarily.
Are you out of wages? Are you talking out of wages?
No, wages, you know, it's like, I did do
Yeah.
something differently this time, is that where I put the entire, secondary road, not secondary road, the school resource officer into its own budget. And that's why there's no money in the, in one of the line items here for that we, I moved that, last year what we did is Trina and I spent hours sorting it out, and separating between 3 months that he was in school, they're out of school, and the 9 months that he was in. And we split it between 2 budgets, and we had it going out 2 pay sheets, and it was an absolute nightmare. So I wrote his entire budget out of the school resource officer, it's all found in that section. And similar to what the secondary road patrol budget is, their executive budget is written out of that budget rather than trying to summary it for different pay sheets. That was the main thing I did differently. And in one of those 2, I had an error on the defined contribution, I think it was a decimal point error where I had 92,000 or something.
It was technical,
You picked that, okay, good.
based on the clerks.
Okay, pretty good.
It was really, it was very out of the way.
Yeah,
So I just put a note in and wanted to put it.
How firm is 55,000 reimbursement from that year ago?
that is solid.
It's all-
Yeah, they've redone the secondary road patrol grant where it's, instead of you having to guess and it coming in different times and adjustments. Last 2 years, they've sent us some out and then they've upped it later on. They've redone the language on that and the application process language, you know, you both had to sign into a page. And that 55,000 is solid. Yeah. The revenue side. One of my grants came in a little bit higher. Or the grant, I think I had 5,000, came in at 7,000. So that one moved in a little bit higher.
7?
Yeah.
Going to the school resources and for a moment.
Sure.
It seems to me early on with school resource, didn't we provide some training or some class work or something for that individual?
Training for the officer that's in the school? Yes, we did.
Okay.
Do we have the very same person?
Yes. Well, I trained him this summer and he is still a school resource officer this year.
Has he received the same amount of training as was provided to the individual who first had that? Approximately.
You're gonna have to tell me who you refer to. When I started here, Brian Harder was the school resource officer and there's been several since then.
Pick any one of them.
They all,
5 years old. 5 or more.
for Deputy Deller was the last one before Deputy Franklin, and they received the same amount of training.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about a week long training for school resource officers, and there's only 2 that are accredited in the country. They both attended it.
I just, I think that's important, because it is handling a whole different spectrum of age, attitude.
Right.
And so on. And in fairness to the individual and to the person being provided the service, they both benefit from.
And that is a grant funded position now, Carolyn, and the grant requires that person to be trained
Okay.
in one of those two. And so we've done that to comply with.
That is, I just want to make sure, I do not see it in the budget. And, it may not need to be.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that is we sent them to a week-long training and the grant, covered the wages for that week, so it worked out very well. Nope, no, good question, thank you. They are giving us, 67% of his salaries and salary and wages while he's there. And I bill them on a monthly basis right now, so they're sending us right around between 42 and 47 bucks a month.
They're paying for the whole load except for when school's not set in.
They're paying for 67% when it is in second.
Oh.
So the 3 months, so they're paying 2/3 of it while he's there,
That's certain time.
not of the full year
But the balance of his time is already included in the school liaison.
budget, yes, yeah, it's all, but in our budget, it's all there, yeah.
I did notice that one up, but I did not go back and let's see what came out of here. That's okay, thank you. We did the same thing with secondary.
Mhm. Yeah, the balance of what the grant doesn't cover, the county pay out that. And that would be the case with the snowmobile or anything else, if we go over that, we're paying for whatever, they don't. I usually keep those very close to what they give us.
Gotta be there. We go, no, you're, yeah.
Yeah.
Forget. I didn't forget on the.
Here, let me look.
One other small thing that made it really didn't probably pop up to anybody is that we've got a program that the road patrol uses called Core Technology. Historically, it's been out with the old budget, I can move it to the road patrol budget, but here it makes sense. Do that.
Okay. What else have questions for Scott?
How do you, I forgot some of the details on the Stone Garden grant.
Yeah.
How do you determine if you have a deputy doing overtime? How do you determine whether it comes out of 975 or whether it's back down there?
Well, there's a couple things we factor into that. It really could be paid out of either one. And with the grant, they don't like our officers turning that time into comp time.
No.
Because it gets very, very complicated at that point. So we've been trying not to do that. And if they're taking cash payment for the overtime, we're trying to put it in the Stone Garden, so the grant covers that. If they're taking comp time for it, generally we put it into the, our overtime. So, yeah, there's some different ways. Does it really matter in the end? It doesn't really matter to the grant, but the comp time issue that we have going on, which by the way, maybe you're not all aware, but we did negotiate that out for the deputies during this time around. The comp time, so over the next 2 years, they have to cash out and use their comp time, and after that, they won't have comp time things. So that will, just that part is a little bit easier for us.
Thank you.
And maybe you noticed and maybe you didn't, but under all these categories, I did put in a new line in for holiday pay. As the contract allows for them to be paid in a lump sum for their holidays.
The numbers were added, but they're not on that sheet, they
Okay.
are up on your screen. For all the holiday pay.
Yeah, and that, is gonna be paid, I don't remember, Terry, do you remember when we agreed to pay that out?
I don't recall.
It was a one-time thing, I think, towards the end of the year.
Was it this?
Oh, that was the, yeah, when the other special pay. or
Yeah,
whatever was,
right.
Yeah. And I think,
They wanted it before Black Friday.
yeah,
They negotiated the first week in December because it was still within that pay year.
Did you do it? Oh, you know,
Well, no, it hasn't done everything till next year.
on another time, another,
Right, it would have been
Seven.
another special pay.
another step. One more. Because you United.
Mhm.
Not your financial advisor. Yeah. We're gonna put it on credit card anyway. Probably.
I'm gonna be deciding to pay that. That's why that, there's a new line item for the holiday pay, and I broke it down for the road patrol. And I separated out the secondary road has theirs and theirs in that budget, so there's a full resource on it.
Okay, any other questions for Scott?
Is it my imagination is that, or is, or the ORV brand? That's snowmobile, isn't it?
Nope, no, or being snowmobile separate.
Reloading. So you want to have, I have everything that was adjusted, you have to take into consideration a few things. We have the revenues, the sheriff's department, school resource, marine, snowmobile, secondary, ORV, and corrections. The general fund, am I missing anything for your department?
One more time.
Or your parent? I've got one.
I think I have a bulletproof vest grant and there's a couple of this. I also have like 1,000 for the bus. Yeah, 1,000 for bus.
But that's included in your expenses, where do you expend that out of?
I usually expend it out of equipment or uniform.
Okay, so that's included in there,
Mhm,
you've already got that
I
included.
do.
So the total revenues are there for the entire general fund, but these are the expenditure departments that you utilize, correct?
Yes,
Okay, I did 101,
yeah,
that's
yep,
all I was aiming for. So we can pull those up so you guys can have an idea of the, with the sheriff's department, the
And then-
expenses.
victim services fund, I do some small expenditures out of that once in a while too.
But that's a different
Okay.
fund. So the revenues are all up here. And the total that we have for department requests is 6,162,148. Looking at the department requested. Not everything. Just under half of the total revenues that we take in, covering the sheriff's department services. $1,644,035. That's including the wage that you had requested under the department requested. And when you look up through here, the changes were verified with the clerk's office in regards to workers' comp retirement, those are the retirement, the workers' comp and all the HR. And the benefit were recalculated at what was being offered now. Through the payment, through the hard cap, so all of the hospital rates were recalculated to reflect what the clerk's office had done, so those are all in there.
That's in here in the packet you gave me.
Those are all in there. And that's under the request, and so there shouldn't be too many differences, like I said, the basic difference on yours was the rate. HSA payment, you had a 15,000, there's, I don't, that's, we went with whatever you and the clerk had worked out. The hospital insurance was adjusted to the clerk's rates of what we have now. Because originally when it went out, it was at 15, I think that's what you said, at 15%.
Yeah.
So it had changed a little bit, but with the hard cap, it also made it different as well.
Yeah, whatever they almost said, I think is.
And the only thing that would possibly change is the open enrollment.
Right.
And the difference between HRA and HSA is minimal, is dollar wise, $70 per policy, so there really isn't a whole lot of changes.
And I saw the forms going around, is there open enrollment forms to be filled out yet, or do we have to wait to talk to that and get?
Built in the online portal. Mhm.
Everybody got email.
Yeah, I got it. Monday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be ready to go. They're not ready to come now, but.
Right.
Okay. Thanks for this.
No.
This is important. I'm glad you brought it.
No, give me the questions.
Yeah, now.
I don't like the fireplace. I started with that. I don't know why I'm so cold, but I turned that up. The day walking around on the roof, they came in and said, you already do here. But we also had illness going on out there, so I hope it wasn't bad, but it's just the heat. My undersheriff left yesterday. Did not look good either.
No,
I think I'm gonna get like an emergency just because I don't want anything. Yeah, well, I need to really take my off. I don't know.
you could have called me from their office.
I know, that's why we have phones. But he tried to come in when he can, so I can, when you need anything else. Next lunch is on you, Charity, good stuff today.
What's gonna tell me to do on the workers' comp bill, the way that Clena's got it set up now. In prior years, we could be anywhere from 10 to 15, 20, or I think we were $22,000 off because it's a guesstimate based off of overtime and stuff, and sheriff paying a lot of overtime or whatever, but we got the bill this time for after the audit, the consultant did go in July, and the bill for the entire time was $500. So it was huge. So now she's actually like, I gotta try to figure out how to do this, because it's so small. That's a pretty good guesstimate based off of wages, yeah.
So with this here, because what was given to me was minimal with the increase, the huge increase in the wages. I thought workers' comp was based on wages. And there's a reduction of 40% that was given to me to put in here. The majority of them you'll see are reduced by almost 40%.
Okay.
So that's, to me, that's a little scary, but
Well, and it goes, they were on an odd cycle too, because it's July to July.
I know that, but I also know that from here to next July, the wages are gonna be halfway through, they're gonna be increasing. You're looking at $10,000 on one person, in one department. You're talking, and then there's all the negotiations that happen with them. The increases are $16,000. $10,000 per person
Right.
in that department.
And back in July, you have no way of guessing. Right. That's
Or need to be
I
probably
know,
looked at.
but that's what I'm saying. It was just done the other day.
Mhm.
And I had mentioned that and she said, no, that's what it's gonna be. They did the wages, so hopefully that's appropriate.
That's how it was estimated from the last time, so it's based off of the increase in the wages, yeah.
Okay, good to know.
How many employees does the sheriff? Department?
Well, 8 and then 10 total. What the official.
Does that include? Sheila?
Well, not sure.
Very good.
Main, right.
13, 14, 15.
There's 15 over there? Okay.
Cause you've got.
And there's fully certain.
Eight deputies.
Yeah, that's not fair. Okay, that's what I thought. I bet.
That's, I can get.
So.
He's also learning.
Bringing in 550,000 from ARPA and the other fund. And we're right now, whatever in the hole, right? According to this one.
No, we're worse than that because I did not put those calculations. But I'll get that number for you.
Felt a lot more rosy last week.
Reality.
Eric Kane, yeah.
We'll be here in 2 minutes.
Because everything will be better.
Feel like the old days.
But when you look, it's not.
You are old.
It's about a document. It's something to look at. Somewhere in here.
No. Cause you gotta go through. Used to be 15 years, I think, the bracket. Possibly not. That's the training was in my office, so, 7 or 8.
Like, no, my wife is married. And have nurse, and I said I didn't want, we had to take it. And they switched from Vanguard 35 to BlackRock. It's a restricted company, we can't own it. Okay, I have a couple $100, $26,000, $2,000 fine, and a thing, and it's like,
Oh my goodness,
oh yeah.
no, it was Vanguard, not.
The upgrade to the.
Oh, it's that
Yes.
hard.
Okay, so we're choosing it here, Carolyn,
With no fun balance.
Oh, you're gonna.
or the guys.
You.
Fine.
What I'm saying, it already,
Oh, okay.
that's numbers I was going to my head, not out loud. And that number's actually. So.
Good eye.
Well,
I'm done.
John. Are you making copies? What's your number?
2009.
5'9". There you go. You make it easy.
5'9".
No, you're this.
Two, 5, 9. Let's start anywhere but the top one. Segment, looks like we just underfigured initially. And we'll be that.
We're at 2024, 29,813.
Yeah, okay. What else is weird here? Here. Well, we're doing some highlights here, John.
It doesn't have a
Oh. Thanks. I got my.
Okay, so we have a bunch of renewals coming up that have not had in the past,
They were prepaid expenses. They
right,
were 3-year contract, 4-year contract.
and some of them are coming up. Our backup server is doubling, for being backup, and that's because the sheriff got a server and the prosecutor got a server, which dumped us over to the limit, so we double that one. A couple of my other renewals are coming up for.
Hardware, software.
I'm trying to find it, it isn't.
I grab it up.
We were, 15 to 21, so there's a $6,000 increase.
Everything's going up. We do, our tax management system's going up, our asset management system's going up. Unfortunately, nothing is going down in place. And a lot of the stuff that we currently have for our software renewals are required by the state commission. So anytime we do it in our 911 audits, they decide they want to add 5 things that I need to have to monitor. Make that more secure, and all in all, it is a good thing. And next year is gonna be 10 times worse. Their requirements doubled as far as. BSNA obviously went up. Thank you. Well, I have a different one in my office, but, everything, went up. Our also, Microsoft's gonna go up a bunch of money. I'm thinking I'm not very budgeting on that one. And also, yeah, I took over the cost of the sheriff as far as the remote access software. So Duo, which is our multi-factor authentication, our IBM MOS 360, which is the remote wipe on the other laptops, and then that motion licensing. BSNA is going up. Let's see.
Is that why in contingency?
Well, it's continuing the same as last year. Oh, it was $2,000 last year, $2,000 this year, I think.
No,
No?
you had $182 in contingency, now you have
It started with 2,000 and those were transferred to different different needs.
It's budgeted, so.
Oh, this is the amended budget, not reflected.
PIS expenditures. Nico is raising costs. He kind of gave me a ballpark figure of what it's gonna be. We can pass some of that cost on to the townships.
All of it. Whatever we're doing now, we're bump up where they're paying, so. Right now, they're, well,
Well,
if I bill it,
Well,
which
this
I
is part of
haven't done
like,
yet this year, but we took that whole thing and broke it up into by township in the past, right?
Parts of it, not the entire. But yes,
Oh,
The ones who took the math.
right, we're currently using QGIS, which is free. And that's one of the software things that I got purchased, but I did ArcGIS. So we can actually read the maps and I can do stuff with them. But currently using QGIS is the computer learning curve. And it will allow us to do a lot of stuff in house. I don't have the time to do the list, I really don't have the knowledge to do so. But eventually if we were to ever go that route, we have the software to do so. I mean, it's a possibility for next year. Internet's gonna stay the same, telephone equipment, I think I bumped that up a little bit. I thought we, equipment should do 17 grand, you know, like 2 grand with gas. I don't. It says 15 here, 17, okay, that's fine,
could I have back up a little bit, please? As you indicated that, it's the services that you're providing to they're are being modified, that you're providing to the township, are being billed out to the township. I'm not asking you to provide it so much.
the township,
That's what I said, I'm not asking you to provide it, but I am asking the gentleman to tell me what line item I'm going to see that's going to indicate to me where the.
revenues, to be something about, yeah, revenues. That's fine.
Pardon?
I seriously doubt we'll get very much.
17,000, 101, 000, 617, 000. We budgeted $1,000.
Oh. Well, that's not the right number. I'll fix it. They had fallen on me over the last couple of years to keep track and make sure that works, so. I will, update all that information.
And a lot of the township are kind of using that beacon, Schneider GIS on them.
Are they paying for it on their own?
I think so.
In Michigan said you have to have this information. And I said, and the county also has the information. So I said, why doesn't the county just buy it and then sell it to the townships?
Right.
But now,
But we have to buy it in order to get it to Beacon GIS, so it's kind of splitting it regardless. I will ask Beacon if we can add the townships that buy it to the list for no cost to Beacon. And find out that's not true, and then still pay us for the actual GIS costs. We're gonna find out, see if that works.
to answer your question, Carolyn, is I will give you that information and do that right together.
Thank you.
Last year, only $285 was received in that line item.
And it was not your billing.
Yeah, there was no billing, yeah, there was no billing done to the
You are
township.
awesome.
We used to receive over $3,000.
Well, we see that kind of money is we were actually selling the GIS to say like Onyx Maps. Onyx Maps would come in and they would buy our complete GIS, which they kind of do for that shortly, just from the standpoint, if you look at their maps, they're totally incorrect. As far as our county. So I can reach out to them and see if they're purchasing another one. Updated version, and that's where some of that money I think was coming from, maybe.
Well, let's do this, and we can talk about this more if everybody wants to, but I just need to sort out what we did before. What I did before and then give it to you what's different, and then come up with a plan.
I can print out the.
But it sounds like
Oh,
anyway, I'll figure it out.
I mean, just that billing coming from a different department and that new, I mean, because it, I thought things were shifted, but I didn't.
I just knew it was, there was a lot of confusion, it wasn't getting done, and I took it on to wrap it up and get it going. And then I just have to get back, my head's back wrapped around it and get it figured out.
I have those contracts all saved in the commissioner's file,
Yeah.
so if you give me a new amount, I can just print them off and you can mail out.
Nope, I just gotta get my head back around it and I can get Carolyn and everybody reporting what happened, what is, what it's going to be. Based on these changes as well, sorry.
but also the contracts themselves were, that they have to wait 2 years. They must, that is we
Yeah.
want to revamp and reissue their contracts for the time frame
Okay.
before you bill out for it.
That's not bothering me.
Very, very.
I was gonna say, I keep thinking,
Well, what I don't wanna do is have them try to chime in and you can't.
I get it.
But,
We're ready to
Well,
go.
but I'm not watching.
Where's-
Anyway, what did I say? Okay, so anything else besides wage? At this point? Okay, so let's talk about department head wage. 285 going again. 259, you know, whatever. 259. So, as you can see. The standard raise proposed versus department requested, everybody can see the numbers. You got any wiggle on there, buddy? Meet me halfway.
I'm way below anywhere the industry average around here. Wiggle, but it's. On average, it's been, and I've gotten it, I'm doing 90 to 105 hours and I bring in 0 contract hours. Actually, I lied. I bring in about $800 to $1,000 a year in contract out. As far as our, one of our servers. They don't bring, in the outset, I do all this myself and 90 to 105 hours, you break down that salary, it's not very much. And I've given you guys just an idea of just the hats that I wear. If you guys were just to farm up, just the web design. 45 grand, just to get the website redesigned, and this could be 5 and 8 a year. Just for them to maintain and do all that thing else. Phone technicians, the courtroom, the audio, the video in the courtroom, that's all me. Running cable, the door entry system, all these are my hats that are on there. I think I'm bringing a good bargain for you guys to do with that bump. I mean, it's up to you guys, and I'm not gonna bark either way, however you guys want to go. It's up to you, and I'm not.
You're not, I mean,
I'm not
I put you on
doing
the
this.
spot and I apologize.
No, I'm not throwing this at you or saying anything that is going to happen if you don't. It's looking extremely. I go home every night and see hours just to try to catch up. Lots to do here, especially with a lot of the fires that we have up in town.
I'll also say that, we do recover some of his, or we do recover some costs through cost allocation.
Covered.
for IT,
Yeah,
there's the money,
yeah.
the monies we get from there.
And 911 could say no, if they don't, they pay
Right.
the. Anyways, and Jeff had put that precedent, because 2 in the morning, they call me on answering the phone, or the deputy showing up at my door at 1 AM going, that's not working, John. And it's very rare that I say that I miss that, or I say I can't.
And then Craig was talking to, Jennifer about some, maybe they'll just be on bunches of.
Or,
But I'm just mentioning that. Anyway, I decided everybody should hear right from, that's in on paper here exactly what you're saying, so. I'm not gonna say here cheese in your face.
No, I bust my hump to make everything work here, 24/7.
Why is, Alpena handling 3 people?
Well, Pim is the city also, but
Oh, that happened.
yeah, Alpena does not do a lot of the, sheriff appeal. They haven't got that. So there's a lot of that work. They assist, but I mean, I do everything from our building department to our 911, the court system, to the entire county.
The contract with the city too, eh?
Yeah, they have 3 people and they do the city also.
Okay. Does anybody else have a question for John? I thought that had to be a public forum, but that's
I
like,
get it,
no, fine, but
it's fine,
Okay, at the same time.
It's one of those things, I threw it out there and hope and, it's you guys, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The number that we just talked about, that reflects all that, John's, okay.
And under his department. You look at the bottom line. And mine.
13,000.
What I did was sort out the fees.
Oh, if you're saying you're 20, you're saying you're 20. Yeah, so if you take his area, away, that would be. At least be elected itself. But it's gonna
Obviously,
be.
that's significant, but
Everybody. Good afternoon. Certainly can't leave them.
that's not any.
Pull you away from the heating emergency next door.
I'm waiting for a phone call to see whether or not they're going to show up today or if they're gonna have to wait till tomorrow to fix. Unfortunately, it's just the rooftop unit in the front part by the deputy's unit. It's not working. The one for 911 and the boiler system is still working. It just controls Scott's, Keith's and the deputy's room on the front there, the sergeant's. So it's got ambient heat coming with the doors open in there and stuff like that. So apparently it's been out for a week and nobody's said anything. Sheila walked in there and she goes, man, it's freezing in here. It was, what, He's like, yeah, the heat's not working. She's like, how long has that been out? I don't know, about a week. Did anybody call Dave? That's what he said, I don't know. So she had called me,
Couldn't have been very important.
well, it's the problem, if it's warming up in the afternoon, that the sun would kind of warm up the building, so if you're on the day shift and you walk in there, and it's cool, but they always said it's 60, they haven't said it's 65 anyways, because they're all wearing their bulletproof vests. Anyways,
Just-
yeah.
This budget is a little odd because the department request was different than what was requested by the board.
Okay.
The board asked for 54 or at the last meeting.
Oh,
The calculations are in the next and the next row, and then the difference between what the clerk had calculated at a regular 3% and what was requested by the board for consideration is there at the 5,400 department requested. The same goes with, I'm not sure where the issue with the department requested in the clerk's is, the clerk had it calculated at 32 and the department. I'm not sure. I have to pull up what you have.
Just because we went from part-time to full-time,
That I'm not sure. Okay.
what's
Part-time, what's,
Mike,
what's Mike's?
Okay, that's what was requested from the department, and the clerk's calculations are 32,
Okay, yeah.
748 and
I would say the 32 is accurate.
at 40 hours. For full time,
40, but he's,
is he 35?
He's 35.
he's 35 in a level 1,
Okay,
so that looks fine.
then why is it 42
I
this
think
year?
it's over there. I don't know. Into that.
No, that's what this year's budget is for the full time.
I don't think so.
That's what I was given from the clerk's office.
oh,
When he went from part-time to full-time.
And I think,
Yeah.
think there was some confusion if he was 40 hours at that time or not. It could have been some of it, it still seems high, but
That was.
I think
So
because
that-
we took it off of Dave's 40 hour a week position,
But Mike's only 30.
pretty much 35. So that was probably over calculated, it still seems high, but
What's the right number there?
32, 748.
Okay.
If you look at other Teamsters that start out at a level 1, at 35 hours a week, that's much closer into.
Oh, gotta go that line, and then,
that's why retirement went way up too, because he went to full-time.
Right. But we have to question all these now, don't we? If it was calculated at 44.
Well, I don't think it's gonna change it, your FICA, I can check that,
That's gonna have to be adjusted after 31 is what he has now, so what they gave us was not correct. Make the.
is it?
Well, $2.
Okay,
this is what was given to us by your office. They stated it, just so you have an idea.
we have to walk us down through the major highlights.
Major highlights?
Oh, yeah, you, sorry, my bad. I thought they were talking to you.
No.
if you take this, here's.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, you got it, okay,
Yeah.
so you know, all the big changes that you
Yeah.
have, you know. Anything that was, going well for us to know.
Right, the big one obviously was Mike going from part-time to full-time. He is, you'll have to check, I have to find out, he was still going back and forth about the health insurance. In the past, he's always just did a buyout because he was part-time. Because he's had the VA care, but he's considering possibly getting into our healthcare system, because the one thing with VA does zero coverage on is dental. And he'd like to get some work done, so I know he's going back and forth with that issue, he wants to go to the health insurance meeting. They're coming here to find out about that, so I know in the past he's taken that.
Make sure when he, because the questions he's gonna want answered is how much is the guy actually worth.
Right.
It's like if you're getting orthodontia, it's $1,500 for life. That's all you get, you know.
Yeah, I know, so.
Well, I'm not saying that to you, I'm just,
Correct,
for his own benefit, it would be good for him to know.
correct, and he was asking me questions, but I don't know that much, I
Yeah.
don't get the county insurance because I get it through my wife, so he was asking me specifics and I couldn't answer his questions because I had no reference since I started here.
Like if you want bridges or anything like that.
Sure.
it'll-
Yeah.
So continue.
Okay. The other issue I had on here, the one that went up quite a bit was the contractual services. The county contractual services, the 802001. I was stuck this year when we basically moved the vets out of this building over to the next building next door. We incurred some monthly costs on there, but I didn't know where to put them, and so I put them into the county contractual services. We picked up, basically, we're splitting the cleaning bill with the building department now because there's people there 7 days a week. They needed an ADA compliant handicap, restroom for some of the vets and things like that, so we were paying for a monthly porta potty over there to deal with that issue. So because there isn't a separate line item for that over there, everything had always been considered jail on that side of the street, county over here. But it was kind of a county project to move the vets over there, so that's why that line item was kind of skewed from where it was last year and this year. Because I've actually accounted for the monthly cost of having those two things there for this year. I know eventually they're gonna move out, but I'm not sure when, so I made that adjustment in that line item to cover those costs. The other thing that we're gonna check into this year is maybe, we've been dealing with Summit Fire Protection since I started here. They basically bought all the small companies up, like Alpena Fire and Safety and all that kind of stuff. Some of their costs are spiraling out of control. I mean, they came here last month, did the sheriff's department's fire extinguisher checks, their yearly checks on everything. That went from $500 to $935. So, but it's certain things we have to do, so I guess there's a company over by Gaylord, that also does fire inspections, commercial fire inspections, so I'm gonna be contacting them going forward, on that project. And then the other one that's gonna be up in the air come next fall, that's gonna be included in this budget, is gonna be our snow removal line item. I think we're gonna be okay there, because Jonathan Maintenance retired. Okay, he is no longer gonna do snow plowing. He basically sold his contracts to a new vendor, Asable Services. His deal is that he is going to basically pick up the contract that already negotiated with Jonathan Maintenance through this winter at that current price. We're gonna have that through this winter. However, next year, he's expecting there's gonna be some changes going forward with that line item. So we may end up having to put it out for a bid, and I'm assuming it's gonna be quite a bit more than John always quoted us. Because he was pretty understanding the fact that he lived down the street and he plows out 24 hours a day. This guy is, he's not on board with John doing half plows. So John used to come here, and if it was a weekend and we were closed, he would only plow out the sheriff's department. He would only do certain things like the MSU building wasn't done. He said, well, he might do this next year, and next year he thinks that I gotta send a whole crew up here to do things. And I might as well do everything. Cause otherwise then he's gotta send, well, he plows out us on Saturday. The snow's still there Monday, he has to send the second crew back out on Monday to replow everything again in his mind. If the snow doesn't melt. I'm just saying, I was trying to get the feel for this guy. So that could change. So at that point, I think we'll just wait out for a bid next year. And we've had to do that before. But he's gonna be doing the snow plowing and the shoveling this year, which was
Yeah, cause I was just gonna ask you that, they shovel.
They
Okay.
shovel, whereas Johnsville Maintenance was doing just the plowing, but then we always had to pay, we got, Chosen Range out of Link that comes to our snow shoveling,
Yeah.
or you wouldn't do it anymore. So it may be cost effective to do both things. It's always easier to the same contractor that plows to do the snow shoveling. Cause last year the guy would come do all the snow shoveling, John would come back and plow, and he'd plow on all the sidewalks, so then we'd have to go out and clean it out, or the other way around. You know,
Interesting.
so we're going back and forth. So those are the big ones.
An element, if I may,
Yeah.
it's going to increase it in 25, is that the guy from Wasabi Services is no longer going to feel any limits to the pricing that Don had. And in the meantime, we had two more people who have been doing snow plowing for a period of time are no longer doing it. So we're decreasing our pool and at the same time unleashing any restrictions.
Correct. Correct. Like everything else, the older contractors are retiring and installed.
Well, everybody's still in that bench.
Yeah, everybody.
Townships,
Yeah,
my church.
everybody is.
And that's everything.
So most everything else, I just made, small increases on basic utility bills for next year. The one that we're still lowering every year is the electrical on the jail. I dropped that again this year. Because we were originally over $21,000 a year for the jail electrical, but now having the jail closed. I keep dropping that every year, trying to get closer to the number. I'm afraid of dropping it too quickly because we do have a lot of electronics over there with the 911 and stuff like that, but I dropped it again this year, trying to bring it more into a line, because I think I'm gonna be right around 15 for this year for the jail electric, so that was the one I did drop again this year.
But interestingly enough, his increase, despite the fact he's moved someone to full time, is only $22,000. It's rather commendable.
Oh, and the equipment line item, there wasn't anything budgeted last year. I put in there, $3,500 to replace a riding mower. I mean, they put Lincoln Outdoor Center, Lincoln, I'm gonna buy a new riding mower, the one we have here is running on its last leg, so I've already talked to Eric over there. Basically, it's gonna be a 46-inch riding mower with a bagger attachment and a plow on the front, so I can still use it for sidewalk maintenance in the wintertime. And the bagger for doing all the lawn mowing around the building. Our current one's a 48, this 46 one will actually fit better around the buildings and stuff like that. So that's why there was, money put in there.
Dying already?
No, not the zero turn,
Oh.
not the zero turn,
Yeah.
the little Husqvarna that I do around the building.
All the little.
And I use it then in the wintertime for doing all the sidewalks, for all plowing instead of hand shoveling all the sidewalks during the daytime. And basically I do all that during the daytime.
Hello?
We only pay them to come out once a day to shovel all the sidewalks. If it's more than 2 inches, they'll come back in the afternoon, but if it's just a moderate snow or lunchtime and stuff like that, I take care of all the sidewalks. So. That's it.
More questions for Dave? I'll take no.
My wages are the clerk's calculation.
What version of the budget do you have?
I just have one you gave, is this the newest one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the newest one.
Okay, good. All right, I think that's it for today then.
Okay,
Did you get next wages though, of what?
isn't that this year?
Is it on there, the 37?
Yeah, 4748. That's the
Making
next
sure
one.
you.
That's the one, that's the corrected one
And then
from
this-
the clerk's office, and this is the clerk's request, the clerk's calculation from your, as a
Okay.
3% increase, and that was a request from you.
Yeah.
And the board will decide on that one when that one falls.
Okay,
Yeah, it was great.
They're not making any,
okay, thank you.
at least to my
I
knowledge.
know there's my budget down.
Thank you.
Yeah. So. Or we're gonna come down either way.
That's fine, we work on other stuff, I mean. The clerk and
Clerk and the treasurer.
we gotta look at ours.
Yeah.
Ours.
We can do that. Squeeze it in.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
As soon as we know, you'll know.
All right, Appreciate it.
At least me, I talk a lot.
You didn't bring your sign down.
It's not very much.
Or 253.
I think
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
try the treasurer in.
253.
And for the treasurer, we do have some options, if you'd like to consider some other options. You can add another employee if you'd like. So I know where we're gonna put on and see if you'd like to go that route.
Oh, there she is.
Yes.
I know you're gonna be ready soon.
Let's go with her and then we'll come back.
Okay.
We can revisit. Change of plans. 368.
I can come back if you
Yeah,
want.
no, why not?
You're
You
here.
were here once already,
I
waiting
even.
for us. You were just talking. about it.
Come on up.
268. So those of you who are still looking. And we have an update to, a potential update to a few of the line items that we have. Okay. In the general fund portion of it.
Is that the expenditure that you had somewhere?
What we have is up on the board, there was discussion this morning, I don't know if you were here for it or not, from the clerk's presentation in regards to wages, the recommended wages for elected and appointed elected officials and the deputies for the 3 offices that are so closely conjoined would be on the board.
Okay.
Portion of it. The only thing that is indifferent is your request for your salary wage for your union employee that's not been given a definite yes or no for full-time or part-time, but to my knowledge,
No.
which is why we have the differences here.
So just in case you didn't see. Proposing taking, the treasurer and the deeds and the clerks, elected official salaries up to, I just listen to the school. 58,550 and 47,550. Right, no?
58,550 and 51,550.
My bad. You're right. Yeah, trying to. Call me at it.
There.
Last proposal there, that being said. I think you pretty thoroughly went over all this stuff with us. If there's any other things on here that it's gonna change or something that's a big, difference that you wanna speak of. Outside of, the employee thing, we'll talk about that last.
Okay. So, just looking at my notes here, bear with me. Okay, so no, oh, wait, just go further. So, I mean, I questioned, the retirement, cause that was a big increase, but I don't know if. No, I guess it wasn't.
It is,
Almost 8,000.
it is, and it has to do with.
Yes, okay, cause what I budgeted, yes,
That
okay,
is what
so,
was provided by the clerk,
okay,
based on,
Another full time.
no,
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 That's-
based on a part-time. Ours is still at a flat rate
Okay,
for the elected and the appointed officials.
okay,
Those rates were changed, that would need justification from the clerk's office. That's what was provided to us for the retirement portion.
okay.
And it's based on the part-time. I don't have an answer for that.
So, and then yeah, that was my other comment on that is, I mean, that's even if it's, I mean, I understand if the position moves to full-time, but at part-time, I mean, I guess I was wondering if they had somehow figured in my union employee for retirement because that was such a big jump, but
That would be a good
the
question. for-
employee is part-time, so retirement would not apply. So I'm not sure what was going on there, so I did have a question on that amount. And, yeah, I think the only other thing in terms, I mean, I did change the phone thing. I just looked at what the phone expense was over this year and averaged it out, so I mean, normally I don't figure in the phone, but it has been budgeted at 1216 for the last 2 years, and I don't think that was correct this year either, so. We're averaging. Over 1,300 a year, so,
Were we way over on office supplies for?
okay, no, that was, we did discuss that, so at the beginning of the year, I actually did a line item transfer because I purchased a new passport camera. So the amount that went into the office supplies last year is, I originally had budgeted 800. But I did increase that to 1,000, I think, is what I put in
Yeah.
here. Just because now I've taken money from contingency and now I'm at about $900 of office expense or office supplies, so I did increase that a couple hundred from what my original one. Have any large, I don't have any passport equipment or anything. Just-
The only real question is the need, is the retirement you have no, that's not gonna
Yeah.
affect anything other than. It's not gonna affect your supplies, that's personnel issues, that's the HR issues that will be adjusted and not affect it'll affect your bottom line, but it doesn't affect the things that you need in your. So those are anything over the 700, and the 700s really don't play a part to the things you need in your office. But your concern would be obviously the one and only.
Yeah, then the only other thing was, well, since I had started playing with figures and I had put something in different for that, salary and wage calculation. I'm not quite sure that the FICA was figured correctly, but that too would be something from the clerk's office, so. I think,
We do have a correction, it's. At this point, with the new salary, she just gave it to me. It is 10,310. But that is with the part-time.
okay,
Okay, and then I don't have the revenue side, I don't think I need the revenue side, but if there's anything, you just gave us that report, actually. You got the last meeting.
yeah, I actually have a revenue side and.
Yeah.
You do.
That's why I
on
started
the
talking
first
about it.
page, second page, but you have to point out the ones that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Is there any amazing huge revenues that you're anticipating the public beyond what you already thought?
No, I mean, I basically, as far as that goes, had anticipated, I do have an increase anticipated for plat books because 2 weeks ago, we finally got the new plat books that we had been told a year ago we were getting, last November. So I had budgeted for that and, hadn't really sold anything. So I did go pick up 20 books. I've already probably sold 10 of them, so I did increase that a little bit. That's not gonna still be a huge amount on the revenue side. And I don't know if I'm, well, at this point, I guess I'm gonna leave it as is for the real estate transfer tax. I mean, I budgeted 75,000. But I will tell you that, I am going to, we've already met that for 2023. It's so hard to determine that, so, I mean, I feel like, I know I'm gonna need to do an adjustment on this year's budget because we're gonna be bringing in more before the end of the year. So, I mean, I do actually have like 4 things that need to be, I feel need to be amended on this year's budget, and I know that's not what this meeting is about, unless we just speak about that.
Are they all revenue?
That need adjusting. Well.
What's the second?
Yeah, so my remonumentation is probably, I had figured, I think at 220, it's gonna maybe be closer to 180. So we've got about a $40 difference there.
40 or 40,000?
$40. Yeah, only $40, nothing big, nothing detrimental, so I don't know if that's a big issue. And then the other would be in the non-general fund revenue, so. But I do think I need to increase the real estate transfer tax by probably. It's gonna end up being between $5,000 and $7,500. We continue to sell property.
That's for the year, yeah, you can send that along. Or you can get it started.
Okay,
And if you don't, it will be automatically increased to what you have.
okay.
at the end of the year.
Okay, right.
So, I guess the only other thing I, have on my note to address, and I did speak with, Dave about this last week, but I'm gonna have to get with Dave Hanson, so the cabinet door that can't be rehung because he can't find a hinge and the cabinet's from the 1950s. So, I'm gonna be looking at talking to him at the beginning of the year to see what we can do about getting a different, maybe a different cabinet in there. We've got a door, without a door, and
I don't think it's that big of an expense.
just for at the window. We're waiting on people at the window.
Oh,
And because it is probably from the 1950s, I mean, I'm not lying, you pull the drawers out, it's not on rollers, so all the wood shavings are, falling down on top of our things that we have stored there. So I would just like to see that updated. I'm just bringing that to your attention, but I'm not bothering with Dave Hanson right now. I know he has him in his jail cell and he has a lot on his plate, so.
well, should we throw another 1,000 on your office supplies or you think we?
I have no idea how much something like that would even cost, but we could do that.
Just doesn't allow while we're sitting here. Throw 1,000
I
get you a new-
I don't know. Someone, does anyone have an idea of what that would cost?
I mean, I would think under 1,000.
Okay,
I would also think under 1,000.
okay.
We'll bump that up to 2K.
Are you seeing that, what she's talking about?
Yeah.
It's,
That's
Yeah.
part each.
It's a building.
yeah, it is. It's got 4 drawers in the top and 2 big cabinets under, 2 cabinets.
Which I'm not replacing the entire thing.
That spans under your whole entire window there?
Yeah,
Oh, that's one of them.
Yeah.
We just cabinet door, I thought it was,
are you just looking to replace the door?
No, because the door, no, Dave cannot find a hinge for it.
So you're looking at
And
10 feet of cabinets and countertop.
yes, probably.
That's $1,500.
Which is fine, because it's not been done, and you
Oh,
have to
nothing,
talk
yeah.
with Dave,
Yeah.
about putting it in as a capital project.
I say, put money in there. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if you pay for it out of your budget or if it would come out of buildings grounds budget.
I know where it should come out of, but that's not where my, stuff came out of, but, yeah.
Well, we'll just let it ride for now, but, yeah, make sure you give a date on that then. All right, well, and then, no other questions, last but certainly not least, So the full-time from part-time position, the other way to talk about this, and I don't apologize, I feel like you're putting me on the spot, but, you know, what is the appetite of the board to that move?
I'm not sure since it's been with the appetite before. I think it may be more the fiduciary obligations of the board. And from that perspective, I feel it needs to stay, if that's part-time. Would it be beneficial for your office to have full-time? I'm not, I certainly would not say no, it would not be. But, our office has a history of getting needs and things out very quickly compared to many other offices surrounding counties. And although that is plausible, in my book, it doesn't take it into the need for a full-time, for 3 full-time people in the office.
Am I correct in saying it's an increase, the only $6,000? Or is it that?
Wage-wise.
Way big, but then you have insurance and everything else goes there. It's, I think the full insurance thing for a single, on it, family, not, but potentially could be.
Just the buyout.
They used to buy
He
it
does currently have a buyout, yeah.
$4,000, but if you took the,
Defined benefit, the change of position is still an open division.
which is based on the wages. Which is what I'm assuming a 31 is.
Is that how you calculate that, Missy? What's that? With the defined benefit?
So as far as that retirement figure went,
Yeah,
no, well, Trina had given me some information earlier this year, which is what I had put in, which was 31 something. But this 31,049, I'm not sure where that came from. I don't know if. Because that was what was budgeted when it was the part-time position, which you shouldn't have received anything for that with that. So that was the question I had.
oh, when prior to, I couldn't find those numbers down here. It should be up in the-
But she's saying she doesn't get the defined benefit because she's part-time. So what is her, she has no benefits for retirement or she gets a portion of that? So that is calculated including her, or is that not? Because that's what I got from the.
So does she get any retire? I
If she's,
wasn't aware
if
she
she
got anything.
is, I'm assuming it's 30,808 is for her going full-time.
Yes.
And that's what your calculation for your retirement is down there.
Well, my calculation actually was 31,137, so that's what I'm saying. So originally, when I was given this,
So
budget, it was
that
the-
does not include
it was
her-
the part-time position at, which, well, that, okay, let me address this, sorry, let me put my part-time.
31,049.
So, this, you have the part-time at 24,666, okay, so that would be. Yes, that would be close to what I figured would be her part-time salary. But even then, that, with the part-time salary, yes, that retirement was figured at 31,049.
So I don't know off the top of my head, I think it's 42.22%. And that 30,808 is gonna be a difference of $13,007 in the difference.
That would be the difference, but what was given to me was a 31,049. So that's.
So then that would take that up to like 44. That's not right.
They're listening to me. I know they are. I know they can hear me down here.
The retirement is just based off of the 2024 flat rate for Division 12. And it's just for you and Nancy.
Is the 31?
31,
Is
yeah.
this figure right here?
I recalculated it.
Okay.
Not including hers.
No. 31,049.
It does not include the part-time.
Okay, thank you.
So that's what was given to me from the clerk. There's a note in here, that's what was given to me, so it carried over back to,
So
it overrode your department request because that was what the calculations for the retirement were from the clerk's office.
And then 13,007. On top of that. On top.
Which she just said flat rate, and I thought Teams was a percentage rate.
They are, but she's saying this 31 is related to flat rate.
So if it is 42.24%, it's an additional $13,000.
So moving that 31,049. Retirement jump from 31 to 44. So that would be 13,000 a year, so 20,000. Depending on the insurance, right now it's a buyout, that's 4,000 for a family. If you took it, then it would be 21. So regardless of what the 6,000 for the wages, that would be the increase, if all those scenarios in a perfect storm.
Right, it could be another 40K. Yeah. I don't know, okay, so. Well, I'll just say, we don't have to vote on anything, but I think my opinion, and I apologize, but, you know, this is a part-time for now. And again, next year, that's just me. Everybody else feels strongly about this. We have to make adjustments to the budget. I'd like to make adjustments to the budget today, if we can. So we can keep going with this, but. Okay, I don't hear any noise, so it sounds like we're gonna keep it the same.
The same as,
It's the same as what it is, what the number is not full-time for the third employee.
I'm not sure, so I don't. I mean. Respect all of your consideration. I just feel like I deserve an answer as to why. I mean, it's just strictly budgetary.
Well, it was just, it has to do with budget, it was just last, how long have we had that third position? When did we start that?
21,
Hasn't been that long,
is
21.
that right?
Well, whatever it was, I know it hasn't been,
Is she before COVID? No, it was, I believe she hired on in May of 21. Then she moved to the new position in June of 23.
and from my standpoint, I understand it's hard to, you know, you lost her to a different position, it's more money and it's full time, yep. I know it's gonna happen, but me personally, I can't, I think for 24, we keep it part-time, that's my personal opinion, I have, it's a financial decision, and you know, you can go down through this whole fat book of stuff and say, you made a lot of other choices that gave some people money and didn't think, yep, I sure did, I sure agreed to that, but, I don't know if this is the spot where I feel like you have to look at it for 24, 25. For me personally, if anybody else wants to speak to it, that's fine,
I mean, I agree that, I mean, it's hard with a part-time position and, I mean, but to jump up, I mean, it just, at the time, it's like, you know, I keep on part from the boat village.
It's a court. Every time there's nothing there, it's possible.
Yeah, so I mean, that's
You get somebody good and.
I do, or just the fact of, and I'm not saying they would even move within this building, I'm hoping that this works and she wants to, I don't feel like she's looking elsewhere, but she's only been here a few months. But it's a lot of work when you have to keep retraining someone, and I understand, even if it was full-time, I do get it, I get that still, that person could leave for a different position. But I do appreciate your comments. thank you very much for answering them and, I'll be back with it again.
I get it, it's this, a small business has this massive problem. It's the biggest problem that we have today. We lose people all the time. It's just, and good people, it's like, no.
Well, next year
It's-
she'll have a year under her belt and
That retirement is coming up in what's this one?
Oh,
I lost the afternoon too.
yeah, yeah. So,
Okay,
other than that, I don't think I had anything else that, I don't think I had anything budgetary to, so,
did you get those adjusted numbers for the,
yeah,
elected? Okay,
I did. I wrote those down,
Okay.
yes, yes.
all right. Well, thanks, Betsy.
All right, thank you.
Just get used to them. And then get me this train and then all of a sudden. I make all cherry picking. Happens.
Sure. I think the cheese donuts now. Well, I changed my department requested, that's for sure, after Stephanie's thing. We already discussed, changes that I wanted to have. There's really no. The only other request I had was the change that you suggested, and I'm not gonna talk at that. The wage for the deputy and the treasurer.
My only question with that, so, sorry, I've not been
No, you're fine.
present a lot lately, but, for Amy's. Was the 40, that's Sheila, I lied.
The 44.
I'm still on
the
registered.
49.
253.
Did that already include Amy's thing?
That was the 5 additional hours.
Okay,
You
because I didn't know
calculate-
if her MERS was gonna be correct.
It would be close. But with the 5 additional hours, and like I said, it's not necessarily, it's not getting paid every week. Like we have
Just
one
to
letter.
it towards the end of the year to see how it's
Yeah.
going.
Because I know I will need her to do this for at least 3 months, possibly 4 to 6, depending on how things go with the townships and like I said, with the association, so I'm gonna go back to that. How the process is, and once we get it under control, barring any new exciting changes that we have, it's mostly the addressing that we have, at this point. But then again, I'm gonna be gone from the office, assisting the townships with different things at different times. And it's just gonna be where we need that. We may need extra time there in the office. So that's why, and it, like I said, it may not be for 3 months, I know we have, and I'm trying to get back to this one. We have the soil erosion. It gets paid an additional 5 hours every week, whether there's soil erosion or not. That's not my intention, because I don't think that's right. She gets paid on a weekly basis throughout the entire year, when there is not even inspections going on throughout the year. That's not what my intention is. My intention is to utilize her appropriately when we need her, but to have that option to do that.
We need to do it with Kim. With
Yeah.
Errol.
Yes,
Yeah.
but if I need it, that's what I need to have happen. I need that available, or I will ask for another employee, which then I'm gonna have to kick out the housing department, put her somewhere else, if she works remote 8 months out of the year regardless. And I'll use that for, that's just something to put on your radar, if we take up contracts with townships. If it's a nice little.
But if you take a contract with township, that includes funding to be able to pay for it.
No, we charge them,
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
We would get funding from them to be able to pay for that.
So
Right.
why, what benefit does the townships have by doing all that? Versus,
by contracting with
by
township.
versus the county doing? Why don't we do the taxes instead of?
Because that's their job, that's their statutory duty,
Okay, is that,
and they
it
get,
just seems like it's antiquated where you're getting people, I mean, no offense to like the new one for Caledonia, it has nothing. I mean, it's a huge headache for you guys and a learning curve for them. And then 2 years later, it's somebody else and you gotta do this whole thing again.
that's the nature of the elections.
Yeah, and
Maybe.
the end of two, she's talking about the increase of 5 hours for Amy, but the increases like her, she's doing so much traveling and all this stuff on her time that she doesn't get paid. I'm staying late because I'm sorry, you know what I mean? So all this extra stuff, just like Stephanie said with elections and all that stuff, we're doing it because, but it's like a ton of extra work since we decided to make those changes.
We didn't decide.
No, but I'm just saying,
We didn't
Wait a
decide.
minute.
we didn't, but
We
the
didn't
changes
decide.
are falling on us and it's like,
I haven't even addressed elections yet.
yeah, it's just,
A lot,
you know, and she doesn't say those things, she just does them, you know, but.
and you're staying with the
One
same amount
person
of
is
staff,
better.
and it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, so it's like you almost need
It's
another
your budget
person.
right now, I'm like,
Sorry.
Straight your lane.
yes, right. You are fine.
So the retirement was figured with the current wage, $5,000, 4,500 was the increase for the year. So it's not gonna be that significant.
No, and
To
at this
me,
point,
it's
you
not.
know how much
And
free sale is,
Doesn't
whatever,
matter.
right?
that's why I did not adjust that or ask for that to be adjusted. The only other thing that I don't know, I really didn't change much of anything
Try to
else.
see reading with everything,
That was the main.
So
try
as
to keep it clean.
long as the 44,249 reflects the potential for the, having potential for the extra $5, it should be set then, right? Then you're gonna get us a LOU.
Does Amy have an LOU right now?
Yes.
Could they make that like combine like one LOU? Just put,
I
we're gonna
don't
have
know,
like 3,000 LOUs,
I know.
you know? Just a thought.
I don't know if they would, but I'm also, it's kind of awkward because she's now
The steward.
the steward.
Yeah.
Which I'm hesitant. But I know it's a job and a responsibility, so it really, that's why I was bringing it to the board first, as opposed to where I would normally go to the steward first.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
But,
Treasurer?
I'm sorry.
I don't even know.
I mean, no, I think it's fine. Okay, your turn.
Okay. So what I presented with the other 12 counties, that was to get on basically to an average with fellow constituents. And you know, it's across the board. And I thought I'll print that out. I'll email it to you guys. Like I said, there's other benefits to it. It's kind of interesting to look at. And I was thankful that they included us to participate in that wage and salary survey with along with the benefit. With that being said, again, kind of like what they were touching on with all of these additional duties. Yeah, there are duties, but they become so much. And I don't even know how to even approach it right at this second, but I'm fully rethinking the election budget that I submitted. In those interlocal agreements that we did, I can, because Trina is a salaried employee. And our hours, I have to be 8 hours a day, that's including weekends. But we have to have everything up and running by 8 AM. So that means coming in early for 9 days straight, working weekends for 9 days straight. As is the budget analysis position and the assistant, I am really debating on a election coordinator and election coordinator assistant. But depending upon how many elections are within the year. Most of Trina's will be reimbursed. Counties I know that have also been, and I wish I could give you the names of the counties, and some that are hiring full-time, they are larger counties, but not all. Not all of them are larger counties. who was getting a coordinator, who was just having extra money set aside by the Board of Commissioners. I can throw that out on my clerk serve and ask. But I'm not comfortable with the election budget that I submitted. And like I said, it's 29 additional days of duties, and that is including weekends, and I know I can't do so much as an elected official for myself, but this is a lot. It's a whole month out of the year, basically just spent on elections. And I'd love a coordinator. You guys want to pay for an election coordinator?
I didn't know the thing, you have to get a lot of documentation and figure out and find out what that entails and what that actually is.
Well, I'm basically coordinating the elections for 12 townships.
Well, and that's what, I mean, the townships have no,
Now,
they don't have the knowledge.
But it's, okay, I guess. Let's talk about first, so you asked for 30,000 for election right now, total.
Cause we're gonna have possibly, if we have one and CORE put something on, they were requesting May. Another election, they wanna be on their own, they don't wanna be on any primary ballots. Crawford, Otsego, Ogama, and Roscommon. So they were looking at a special election date in May. In May, that would be the only one where we don't have to, because it's not state, where we would have to have the 90 early voting. So that would just be like a 1-day regular election day. But the presidential primary, proposal to everything pretty much is in effect 1/1/24. I've gotten back about half of the contracts, and in there, basically what it stipulates is that, the additional student hours would be reimbursed for in addition to salary. Because that would be divvied up between the 12 townships, so hers would be, but it would be a set amount of money based off of how many elections are held that year. So say in one, they can throw in one election year, I don't have that, we don't have that fee. But the years that we are gonna have a month long worth of elections. Well, I can't do that by myself. I absolutely cannot. And I don't see any township clerks going, yep, I want to do my own election for 9 days straight, because I work a full-time job.
Can they come and help you guys, those
They will.
township clerks?
They will bring their election. I'm just coordinating them. They will coordinate their workers. They will pay their workers. But it will be held here at least in March until I could find possibly some more centrally located, because that was another complaint that some of the clerks had. They didn't want to come over here. Well, the voters aren't gonna want to probably come all the way here either, but I know it's where the equipment can be secure. And, you know, it's gonna be working very closely with the clerks more than, yes. Also, new Brandon Township clerk for Harrisville Township. She had 1 month crash course in elections to get certified in the qualified voter file, and she did very, very well. We will have a canvas tomorrow at 9 AM. The canvassers will be here in the commissioner's room. It was just for the school election, so that was pretty quick and easy. Election, thank heaven. Trina, it was basically her first hands-on from beginning to end. So somebody else knows the elections other than myself, and I budgeted for additional training for her too, which is just a good course in Lansing down at Delta that you take, and it was I've only had it once, so it's all you need with continuing ed, but it was a really good one. And we've now started her own whole set of election manuals. It's like mine, about 12 of them. But so my budget pretty much with those adjustments was all I had. I don't know, I'd like to revisit the election budget.
You put in your tentative thoughts and get it to finance.
Yeah, I still have it in.
And I'll put it in
I couldn't find
and
it.
they can review it.
Yeah, so, like I said, it's basically dependent upon
And you wanna add something like the contingency or something?
And I think you can, bring them,
I don't know how that works with wages. I don't know how that's, that's where I have to figure that out.
Yeah. But there's that.
So it's not about having somebody else, it's about compensation for extra time spent. Right? What I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weekends and you're gonna have to be here earlier for sure, because the polls open at 8. For 9 days. I don't know, I have to work on it. I can, like I said, put it out quickly on my list to see what other clerks are doing. Some clerks went. Township clerks, they're on their own. I cannot believe, if I did that, just like I said, over and over again, I'd have half of them walk. They would not stick around, they work full-time jobs, because their main pay, but. All right, I don't know, we'll see in March how many, yeah. What happens?
Yeah, I guess get a feel for what other people are trying to do to, and then shoot us information on that if you will. We'll keep it on the radar, address it as soon as some kind of plan comes up.
Yeah. I can.
Okay,
Okay, Andrew.
anything else for Stephanie?
No.
Guys,
Oh, CPLs, I think where you guys did that when I got every fund, I think, or did you, oh, you have done non-general funds yet?
No, it's just general.
Make it make, let me see, make it make.
okay,
That was one that needs to be dropped. Equalization, do you have, I don't have the information for what you approved for the contract for last, from the last meeting. I don't know what the total was per month. To make it accurate, something for that here. I don't know what you, I assume it was a year contract.
yes.
for the equalization.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 3 years.
I have no idea.
I don't remember approving it 3 year contract.
But maybe we did,
You did a 3-month and then after that you did,
but I thought the proposal was the 3
I have
year.
no idea, nobody showed it to me when, except for you.
Oh, was that the meeting?
It was not available to
You didn't
the
say.
treasurer.
Okay, but it was at the meeting, it was.
It was not shared, so, but I have nothing to base your 2024 budget off of. There's a blank space there. There was a guesstimate based off the original contract, but not the contract that was approved.
Okay, so you have the.
I had the 3-month
Okay, 3
contract.
month, and you base it on that, and the actual contract is going to be less. Per month, than what?
For your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody should get that to finance.
And within the minutes. Will there not be any minutes?
That the contract was approved. You said nothing, you mentioned
But-
nothing publicly about anything other than, yeah, let's accept that
Sure.
contract.
Oh, we didn't have those minutes, yeah.
Until next week.
I've got draft. Done.
Should have sent them out though.
No, she just laid them on my desk while I was down here.
Somebody just needs to give me an actual number that I can type in here, so we have a good number for you to look at when you make your decision.
Oh, you're talking about one that's right there,
Yes.
Sheila?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know if he's terminating, but it, you know.
No, there's the beginning thing there. And everything was calculated, I did include two employees at a family rate based on the question,
Oh, was there?
yeah.
Okay. Postage. Can we see what they've used here today, by chance?
That was probably an oversight on my part.
I got it.
You're organized.
Because this was all a guesstimate and put together, I received nothing from the Board of Commissioners in regards to their department that they manage. So I had to put together
I would
something.
take responsibility for that.
Good.
They're posted, $93 right now.
That they used,
30,
93,
93.
so it's like 150, say. Okay, Carol, they have postage now. Pardon? They have postage now.
So you have no department head, the salaries, are you leaving that at what the calculations were from the clerk's office?
What do their association do now?
$20. We were given nothing.
Did they pay association dues this year?
Well, this is the thing. We're in a contract now, and before the association
Yeah.
dues were for the director. But we don't have, I mean, is that including in their contract? We're not paying the. I mean, those are just little things that.
They're an LLC, they pay their own association dues. Unless it's in the contract.
No, we haven't seen it.
God only knows what it's done.
You approved it.
I would think travel would be somewhat reduced. Well, I'm sorry, it is, it has reduced.
So I'm just waiting on the amount for the contract.
In the door and turned around.
Right.
He's not here, he's talking, so I'm assuming you might get all.
Looking at the contract.
There
They
was
didn't do
that
it.
part, that was the, another part of it. You okay it,
Her name is,
any times, okay.
That would be my recommendation. When they're. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all.
Usually it's the people's phones.
So.
What are they?
Well. I started at 9, is that? Oh, yeah.
That's education and training, that's not, you're in education and training.
Lauren asked if you wanted her to come in, she did have a request in regard to the budget, I don't know if that. You guys?
Is Adam out talking to somebody?
Yeah.
Somebody grabbed him when he was walking in. He was walking in.
Yeah, I called at the door.
He had something in the door and somebody grabbed him and he turned, and it was, well, maybe it was Lauren.
Oh, but her association dues are, gonna be $200.
Oh, there.
How long you got it?
Hey, you were inside the door. You were inside the door and you weren't. You were coming back. Just now. You were coming, you had papers, you were coming back and you stopped and turned on, went back over.
Okay, budget wise, I want to give you the copy of this, full figure out what's up, but this is the contracting for equalization.
Okay.
It's 84,000 annually, breaks down to 7,000 a month. It is
Before you said,
84,000 annually, 7,000 a month for 3 years. Okay, right. I thought it was two. But I know, I got that confused something.
I thought it was.
No, I'm thinking of contract I just signed for. Software I just got. I know it, So that's the months.
Well, there you are, on the screen, at the board. The left column. Clerks is insignificant because there was just a few things, Partner requested was. Got in the dark. Based on no information. And comparatively to your 23 budget, your 2,000 less. Or 2,000 more. With an absent. Anywhere.
So it only costs an extra $2,000 to have it outsourced, or we get less stuff done.
No, because the wages were decreased based on, we requested from the clerk's office, because the department head salary was at 50 something,
Oh, okay.
53. They reduced, a lot of things, were reduced, hospital insurance went from 29. The year prior to 19, it would go up another 20 plus thousand. If the new employee takes it, so that can be a factor, she chooses to opt out, which there was discussion about that. That's neither here nor there, it's not my business, that may, they maybe, if it goes the other way and the insurance is opted out of it, say that will leave 8,000 there as opposed to 4,000.
Okay.
Or 40,000, which would be a savings.
Are you in, equalization?
Yes.
Health insurance buyout is probably 0.
What do you mean, Sarah?
She's not gonna take the buyout, she's gonna take the insurance.
One,
There is no,
Yes,
okay.
there is no health insurance buyout budget.
right, I just let you know it's 0, yeah.
That's why I asked her before. And she told me that she was doing,
Okay.
that's why we have the two.
And definitely no on termination and longevity, yeah. Oh, it's just the department head salary, what happened there, then, is it?
No department has, the budget is about 84,000 as opposed to
Well,
90,
it's been 802,
the contracted services,
was it at 90,000?
But it's 84.
but it's 84 if you look at the board.
Yeah, supposed to be.
That's what they just did. Department requested, it's all changed up here under the board.
Okay.
I can make some updates. And all the other updates that you talked about today, but made no decisions on, so I haven't put them over there.
Whatever we made decisions on. Oh,
A
John,
lot of wages,
John was the only one that wasn't a
And
lot
that's what affects
so far.
pay,
everything. I told
He
her.
wasn't that much.
elected
Maybe.
officials,
Officials, but as far as I'm concerned,
One of the
sheriff's department,
sheriff's up here. Sheriff and John's one we got that for.
Here, Adam, there's your 3
Plus,
plus there.
well, yeah, okay. As far as this, vote is concerned, the only one that has to be really analyzed again is the sheriff's and John's. That we talked about today. Part of it in the,
not for us, but
Right,
the
right.
government that I need to make. We already, it's good to read it.
so
We can have them.
the next question is that everything for today that we planned?
Sort of. Wherever my list, one more quick thing.
No, I'm not worried about time before I venture into a new topic that should take long.
The only other thing I had was the. On the third down, 268. 267 part-time, 267. It is, the prosecuting attorney, this is off the table for the 707, which is it's, it was due to, grant administration, and that is going into a different line item of grant administration. It will affect her wages, but not her departmental wages. It will be a separate line item, which is going to be paid from that fund, but in a different capacity, because they're not asking for a union increase, they're asking for an additional baby. The other one, he asked for an increase to the part-time wages of his part-time person that he just hired, to increase the hours, I believe she started.
That the one that took Ellie's job?
Yeah, so the original budget was only for a certain amount, and he has raised it 7,688. The only other thing, and that was up from the other one. You got everything else? No,
What did the one you just talked about, that went from 18 to
26.
26, so just more hours, like up to maximum part-time or something?
I don't know. I would assume yes. But that's what he felt like he would need for the next, for the upcoming year.
This is the first time when he hasn't had it for how many months? We're
Well,
talking about,
Since Ally left.
yeah, since she left.
or we're talking about this one here.
Yeah. That was what he budgeted for 23. This is what he wants to budget for 24, and he's gonna do more amount from there.
But he hasn't thought you were
Hmm.
sure about that?
Hmm. Not that part. I mean, I guess I got bad multiplier through his budget.
That is last year's budget.
The 18 is,
Yeah.
okay, and he's
He's asking for his
more.
26.
You want, is he here?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
So you want to verify it or?
He's here, I don't know,
He was in court, I don't know if he is anymore, but yeah.
or we can schedule, because we got more departments to talk to, right? So we're gonna schedule,
This is only general fund.
yeah, we can put them on the
This is
next
general
next
fund.
round. For fun. Takes the D out of phone. That's the first joke I made all day, not for Wednesday.
I'm sorry, I saw you.
I got seasonal depression out here.
It's gonna come up with something else, but it's humor.
Trying and thinking real hard.
I was looking, it was roughly.
So we'll put him on the next
$20 a week.
thing. So between, okay, so first of all, let's pick a day for, well, do we want to do budgets on next Wednesday? No, what's the calendar? When's our next regular meeting?
Next Wednesday,
Next
but
Wednesday.
it's gonna be really short.
Next Wednesday's the
Okay.
15th.
You're gonna be here?
No, that's Wednesday.
So
Yeah,
try.
that's the meeting.
What?
Wednesday.
For building and grounds.
Is building and grounds done?
Building ground is done.
Well,
I'm sure.
So just you and then
I guess this guy says
Revisit.
the wage is okay at building ground. But everybody else might have different opinion.
No, I think it's good. I think the chair, we gotta decide what we wanna do. That's gonna.
Well, this piece of paper,
But here's almost.
somewhere I got buried here, was pretty informational. There's a lot of hard choices to make.
That was the same decision that you made in regards to the ambulance, when the ambulance director came in and said, my people make this X amount of dollars, that includes overtime and every other dollar they can get, and I want this much money. And yeah, it was the same argument that was presented, just so you're aware, and it was looked upon differently.
Well, that's why it said, oh, it's the consequences of my own action. Goes wrong again. Surprise, surprise.
But every department has union employees and they all have packages and they all earn,
Yeah.
even like elected officials in the same boat as far as what the net cash value of things are.
What day are you looking at here?
Let's pick a day, I guess, nobody wants to do it on the 15th, because they want to have a 30-minute meeting.
Or
We
we
can
got a
make it
board
work.
meeting.
I know. Well, I thought we squeezed some in.
Later in the morning,
That's gonna be on
your own
Thursday.
day.
You're gonna get Tom here at 15, I think, but.
Even if you had some morning ones.
Yeah, we got so many departments to fill in each
It's
one.
way better for me to have morning meetings,
Then let's do it.
than just take it all on the same day on the 15th. I know.
Thirteenth,
I'm
I'm
gonna day
not
off,
gonna
buddy,
be
but
here. You can, but you can.
we were on the 4-man squad all for the last 10 meetings, so it really doesn't matter at this point. Hmm?
I was sick.
I didn't say it was an excuse, I'm just saying, we've been running short of water. So let's try to get something to the morning of Wednesday, if we can, if that's okay with everybody else, we're gonna be here anyways. It's easier for me if I can take it, yeah, can you do that?
Do you want me to do 9, 10, 8, 8 and 10? What do you want
How many people we got there then?
We got sheriff, court, rescue, training, building department, ambulance.
Sorry, I'm in there. You can do it, buddy. I thought you said something else. I heard the A, that's all I heard.
Come back and then go back and get it, ready? Don't take a lot of rest.
Sure.
There's too much pressure, there was an open day anyway, see, that's the deal, you're not gonna see nothing.
That's when you get them. After that, they just.
You're gonna be here, Dave?
Come on, I was gonna be at 1:30.
Let's be honest, are you gonna be here at 9 o'clock?
We need it.
We've been running 4-man squad for a long time.
Okay,
so
but you're
it's
talking-
what it is. What, you gonna hunt?
You're 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
Do it for your constituents. They'll be calling you and be saying, man, I can't believe you won't give that up. I'm giving you all that big commissioner salary up there. Doing that back $4,500.
Oh, we didn't look at your guys' budget.
I was gonna say,
Oh, but I'm no matter what happens there, so it's up to you guys to figure out what goes on with that.
Yeah.
I'm a hard no for commissioner race, so
really,
you guys can deal with that one.
really,
Yeah,
cause for sure,
But did we all see how little we pay our board chair compared to the average?
I was gonna say,
Look at the, no,
Yes.
I'm staying out of that conversation.
Well,
200.
Hey, I like money much next guy, but I'm not gonna sit here and have somebody call me say. You gave away the farm plus you gave yourself money, so I'm not doing that. But you guys can give it away, don't worry. So 9 AM and 15th, and then between now and then, let's all think in our brains about maybe going from 3% to 5% on non-union.
I would like to have a recommendation from the finance committee regarding the 3% to 5%.
All right, I'll put something together. You can just put it on the bottom of my list.
Yeah.
You want the difference?
Yep,
Actually just the difference?
yep.
Well, I didn't know how we were gonna get to the 3%. Nobody explained that to me, yeah.
We're at 3% right now. We're short 203,000 without utilizing fund balance
Yep, I know.
in the general fund.
but if you went to 5, would that put you at?
That's what the-
7, okay?
No, you can't just let them, buddy.
No, it, I had to say,
25.
I had it.
I'm not saying don't go for it, I'm just saying. Maybe it doesn't happen, probably doesn't happen, but
It is pretty interesting.
if I say it a lot.
There's one thing you can do.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing.
Yes.
Because they were 65 or what?
Yeah, I think we were way ahead of the. game. I don't mind if we get.
Well, I bet, that's the station.
It's gonna be the majority of that. Not that many, we learned a lot, and learn about that. Three different options. We have no.
check it out, Dave.
Anyway,
Alpina go.
yeah. Well, are we done business here, guys?
I know, I was just gonna ask. you.
Well, yeah, let's adjourn it. Time with that, 4:50, 4:49. Well, 3:49. That quite right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually midnight outside.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate everybody's participation today. Good job.